Hello, boils and ghouls. It's your friend Tara and Tats. I'm back with another 4K Blu-ray review, and yeah, I was hoping I was going to get this video out yesterday, but unfortunately, it didn't arrive in the mail until today. What can you do? Today, we're going to review the new Kino Lorber 4K Blu-ray of Misery from 1990, directed by Rob Reiner, based on the novel by Stephen King, screenplay by William Goldman. That was kind of the thing, when this movie first came out, all over the posters, they always had that, directed by Rob Reiner, based on the novel by Stephen King, screenplay by William Goldman. Anyway, so, yeah, this is a movie 1990, I would have been 13 years old. I went to go see this movie in the theater. It was my birthday. I'm sure you guys really want to know this, but yeah, it was my birthday, and that was my birthday present. My family took me to see this movie, and then afterwards we went out for a nice dinner, and it was a really good time. So I got to see this movie in the theater. I got to see it on VHS, then on DVD, then Blu-ray, and now 4K. And overall, I'm very impressed with the job Kino Lorber did on this. It's a good transfer. I was kind of at first I wasn't really sure what to look for, and I started watching it on the 4K, and it was like, okay, yeah, the picture quality is good. One thing I really do like about 4K is when I like it when they do 4K on movies that take place in the wintertime. I think I've said this before when I did my review of The Thing, but it's just something about the 4K kind of brings out the kind of brings out that real look of winter. As somebody, if you've if you live in an area where you've been in like really blistery, frigid, snowy weather and things like this, it has a certain look. And then when you look at it on like DVD or Blu-ray, usually it always has this kind of very bright white, very kind of, like bluish quality and stuff to it. But when you look at it, the 4K, it looks more frigid. It has, yeah, there's still the white and a little bit of the blue, but it has more of kind of a grayish look. It just has more of a natural feeling in terms of, if you've lived in wintry conditions and you've seen, like what cloudy, blistery winter conditions look like, and it's, in your mind when you watch it on 4K and you see it presented that way, it kind of, it switches the light bulb in your mind, letting you know, like, yeah, that looks more natural. You're not really used to seeing the really like bright blue snow and wintry conditions and things that you're used to seeing on, in, like what you see in everyday life compared to what you would see on Blu-rays. So then when I did the comparison, and then I noticed that it's like, yeah, there's that kind of very bright white, kind of very bluish, kind of wintry look to it. So I noticed that was a pretty good size difference. But then another thing I noticed, now don't get me wrong, I'm not poo-pooing on the Blu-ray here. The Blu-ray is really good quality, and I'll get to that in a minute. But one other thing that I really noticed about this edition that in the 4K, there is obviously, it's an older film from 1990, so there is a higher grain content. You're going to notice that when you watch the movie, you're going to see there is a higher kind of, when you watch the Blu-ray, you can see a lot of the grain is kind of removed. It has more of a polished look, but you can kind of tell, like looking, you do a comparison, you're going to see like, you're not going to get as much detail in the picture quality. And one of the biggest things I noticed in terms of the picture quality was comparing the Blu-ray to the 4K was the amount of detail that you get in Annie Wilkes' farmhouse. Now, it looks fine on the Blu-ray, but one thing you definitely notice is you notice the look of her house, the kind of really lived-in, kind of run-down look of Annie's farmhouse, and you can see like the, like the faded paint on the doors. It kind of comes through a lot better. The, like the what else? Oh, like the different wallpapers and how some of the wallpapers look a little bit newer, some look a little bit older and kind of chipping and fading away and things like this. You kind of notice a little bit of the rundown kind of dustiness in Annie's house, like especially like when Paul sees the bobby pin on the floor and he's going to get it. You can kind of see a little bit more of the dust and everything on the floor of Annie's farmhouse, but you know, but yeah, the 4K definitely does bring out more of the detail, and especially like in the skin texture of the actors and the characters. Um, Especially James Caan. You're definitely going to notice a lot of like any kind of like blemishes or anything like that on his skin. Because, especially there's so many. The movie has so many close-ups of James Caan that you're definitely going to notice that. But other than that, yeah, the 4K is really a good transfer. You're definitely going to notice a difference. But like I said, it doesn't really take away from the Blu-ray. I will say though, just real quick, I'm actually really surprised that Kino Lorber is the one who put this on 4K because Scream Factory had the rights to this, and they put out the collector's edition. So you would think that like Scream Factory would have been the one who was going to get this out on 4K first, but somehow Kino Lorber they got it and they put it out. But I'm not complaining, but still Kino Lorber did a really good job on it. You get bonus features carried over from previous releases. Let's see, on the 4K, the only bonus features you get the two audio commentaries, one with director Rob Reiner, the other one with screenwriter William Goldman. But on the Blu-ray, you get the other bonus features. You do get the audio commentaries on the Blu-ray, but you also get Misery Loves Company featurette. You get Mark Shaman's musical Misery Tour featurette. Diagnosing Annie Wilkes featurette, Advice for the Stalked featurette, Profile of a Stalker featurette, Celebrity Stalkers featurette, Anti-Stalking Laws featurette, Season's Greetings and Theatrical Trailers. And yeah, you notice though, there's kind of a pattern here in terms of the bonus features. Instead of a lot of like interviews and things like this, mostly you get like a lot of featurettes that talk about basically it's breaking down and diagnosing the character of Annie Wilkes and explaining how her character, the way Stephen King wrote the character and everything, how the character does make sense in real psychological terms. And so it's interesting to watch. I mean, especially if you're watching the movie and you kind of think of like the character of Annie Wilkes is like really over the top and not realistic, you could watch the bonus features, watch the featurettes on stalkers and how they diagnose Annie Wilkes and everything. And you can determine yourself if you still think that, Annie Wilkes is, the character of Annie Wilkes is written to be kind of over the top and crazy and all this stuff, or if it does make sense to you in real psychological terms. But anyway, so they're very interesting features to watch, if you're interested in that kind of thing. But this is a good movie. It really is. You get a really good cast. James Caan, I've always liked James Caan as an actor. Kathy Bates, her big breakout role, she won, the Academy Award for Best Actress, deservedly so. And yeah, Richard Farnsworth, the late great Richard Farnsworth plays a great job at playing the sheriff. Frances Sternhagen, it's like I've never seen this woman in a movie that I didn't like her in. I've seen some movies that were kind of like, kind of mediocre, but you know what? If she was in it, she still elevated the material every time. You get, a little bit of Lauren Bacall, classic Lauren Bacall. So she's great for the time that she's in the movie. So you get a really good film. And I would say probably about the only thing that bugs me is just that I kind of wish, as somebody who had read the book, I wish they had included some of the more gruesome elements of the book, but even Kathy Bates in interviews has said she kind of wished that they had put more of the gruesome elements of the book in the movie as well. But clearly, Rob Reiner wasn't interested in doing that sort of thing. He wanted to. Here is a guy who mostly made like a lot of comedies and love stories and fantasy films and family friendly films. I mean, before this, mostly he was known for movies like Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally. Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap, things like this. So this was a pretty different change, kind of a different step for him. And he didn't really want to go graphic and gory and stuff like that. He just had no interest, and he wanted to do, he wanted to try something darker, but at the same time, kind of instead of going for an all-out blood fest, he just decided he'd rather, do more of like kind of a movie that Alfred Hitchcock would have been proud of. And I think he did a really good job. And William Goldman did a good job writing the screenplay and everything. But that being said, though, it's like, okay, well, this movie came out in 1990. It's over 30 years old. I'm sure there's probably talk in Hollywood of it being a remake. And if they decided they ever wanted to remake this movie, that would actually be a good idea to go down. Like, how about you remake the movie, but just, include some of the more gruesome elements of the book and things like this? And, not do kind of like what Hollywood's known for doing now, not just, photocopy this movie here, but maybe like gender swap the two main characters or something. Kind of like, if you're gonna remake it, I mean, at least maybe consider doing something like that. Put some of the more gruesome elements of the book into the movie. But anyway, still, I really enjoy this movie. It's a good film, and Kino Lorber did a good job on the 4K Blu-ray. I highly recommend. If you're a fan of this movie, you're a Stephen King fan, a 4K fan, I would say, yeah, go ahead and pick it up. You will notice a difference. Like I said, if you start doing kind of a side-by-side comparison, you're going to see more texture. Like I said, there's more film grain in the picture quality. The sound quality is great. You get DTS stereo surround sound, and but yeah, another little complaint that I have. I mean, okay, you don't get reversible cover art, but that's not really a big deal. But one thing I'm going to say, if you do get this release, one thing, be careful, because notice that there? The disc art is exactly the same. So when you get ready to pop this in, you kind of need to, take a second and, look sharp, because, let's see if I can swing that around there. There you go. Yeah, you notice the disc art looks pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is like right there at the bottom it says Ultra HD, where this one says Blu-ray. But so yeah, you got to keep a sharp eye out. So you make sure, if you want to put in the 4K, you don't accidentally put in the Blu-ray by mistake. But also too, really nice slipcover. I really do like the slipcovers that Kino Lorber does. Good sturdy cardboard. I like that. There are some. I'm sure all of us collectors know this. We've definitely had. We've definitely picked up, editions of movies. The slipcover, like the cardboard is so flimsy and thin that it feels like you barely pull it out you pull the disc out just the first time, or the case out the first time, and it feels like it's going to rip on you in like a second. But this here feels like it's a little bit sturdier. It's kind of a little more built to last. But so anyway, that's pretty much going to do it. I would definitely say, yeah, if you're a fan of the movie Misery, which I am, and I am glad to have it on 4K. It looks good, sounds really good, and after comparing it to the Blu-ray, I would definitely say it's worth a pickup. So go for it. Well, that's it. I'm sorry this video ran a little bit longer, but if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully have a lot more fun videos coming, and hopefully some good content. And that's it. So take care, boils and ghouls. I'll see you later. Bye.